Welcome to Top Advisor Marketing, where you will learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your practice. Brought to you by Top Advisor Podcasting, a done-for-you podcasting solution built just for trusted advisors. And now, your co-hosts of Top Advisor Marketing, Kirk Lowe and Matt Halloran.
Hello and welcome to another Top Advisor Marketing podcast. We have a return guest, somebody who I look up to professionally because he and his team and his co-founder have built an amazing organization over on the east side of Michigan, which is called White Glove. For those of you who don't know what White Glove is, dear God, you need to get in the 21st century and Google them, because they are one of the most premier marketing organizations for financial services professionals. Mike Thurman, co-founder of White Glove, is our guest today. And we're going to dive in a little bit more deeply. If you listen to the original podcast with Mike, we kind of did a 20,000-foot view on what they do. And it not just like what they do, but why they do what they do and why it is so successful for advisors. And we're going to go a little bit deeper today. We're going to talk about the educational seminar system and how advisors can really use this and put this into their marketing toolbox. But more importantly, it's how to execute a successful seminar, because you can have all of the greatest ideas in the world, but unless you have somebody in your back pocket that will help you truly execute this in a seamless manner, well, then you're going to fall prey to what happens a lot of times, which is you do a couple of seminars, you don't feel like you have the greatest success, and so therefore you stop doing them, which I'm sure Mike is going to tell us is a really bad idea. So Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me on again. I'm really excited.
Okay. So we're just going to presuppose that people have engaged an organization like yours. What do they need to do to prepare to present the seminar itself, the workshop itself?
So I'll go back to when I was 25 years old and I was preparing for my very first workshop that I did as a financial advisor. And I've said this for a long time, and I continue to say it. My very first presentation was my best presentation. And the reason it was the best presentation is because I prepared for it. Not only did I know the material cold back and front, but I also spent a lot of time watching my mentors present, listening to audio tapes of people presenting, studying different kinds of presentations. I spent an enormous amount of time because I wanted that first presentation to be the absolute best presentation. And every good presenter has to have a story. They have to connect with their audience. As a financial advisor, our clients invest in people they like and people they trust. And if they don't like you, they don't trust you.
How do you suggest that they or that you teach them to build that trust? What are some of the techniques that you coach your financial advisors on to build that trust very quickly?
You know, one of the things we've learned from Frank Maselli, who's one of the country's premier seminar presenter trainers, is you have to have a power opening and you have to have a power close. And you have to be able to connect with your audience. And part of connecting with that audience is to use stories, to use analogies, use real life experiences. Just be real. Just be yourself. That's the most important thing. People will see right through you if you're not real and if you're not being yourself. So one of the things that we help advisors do is we help them create that story. And everyone has stories and everyone has a story, even young advisors. 25 years ago, when I was 25, I had a story. You know, you go deep into your brain and deep into the history of your life. And everyone has real life stories that they can bring to their presentation. And that is so important. All the information, all the expertise and displaying of your knowledge during the presentation, that's all important, but it's very basic. Us as financial advisors, we have become commodities. And the biggest mistake I see advisors making is they try to get up in front of an audience and they try to tell them why they're better than other financial advisors, why their investment strategy is better than other investment strategies. And that's boring. It's all fine
Hmm.
and good. It's important. You have to know the fundamentals. But at the end of the day, the attendees are coming there to see you. You think they're coming there to get information. They're not coming there to get information. They can get that information from Google, from Alexis, from Siri, in front of their personal computer, in the privacy of their own home. They're taking 2 to 3 hours out of their life to drive to that public library to come see you. They're interested in you more than they're interested in the information. So you have to
Hmm.
make that connection. You have to find that story and you have to tell that story.
Now, before we get into the nitty gritty of the execution, I want to ask you one more follow up question on that. When How many times do you ask your advisor clients to run through the seminar, to run through the workshop, to run through the material and practice it before it's game time and they go live?
You have to know it cold, right? You have to know exactly what is on the next slide. You never want to be in front of a group and every time you change to the next slide, turning around and looking at that next slide. You have to know exactly what slide is coming next. And this is just part of the basics, right? Like showing up early and making sure everything's all set and all ready before that very first attendee shows up, which is usually about 45 minutes before the start of the presentation. You want to be absolutely prepared before that first arrival. And when that first arrival comes in, first arrivals have become some of the best clients I ever had. The
Hmm.
reason for that is I'm able to welcome them. I'm able to strike up a conversation with them. I'm able to start building rapport with them. I ask them questions like, what brought you here? Is there anything you want me to talk about specifically tonight that relates to your situation? Any lingering questions that you might have? So it's a golden opportunity to begin making that connection right off the bat. And then as it gets closer to the arrival time, you want to be front and center next to that registration desk, either checking the names in yourself or if your assistant is checking in the names. You want to be there front and center, greeting and welcoming every single person that comes to your event with a
Hmm.
smile and a warm smile.
Besides the presentation skills, what else does White Glove do? And in your experience, what else do you need to do to help advisors and their team really prepare for a successful presentation?
So we have a whole guide. We call it the cookbook to hosting a successful workshop. But we also, once or twice a year, we host a what we call Host University. And really, what it is a best practices mastermind event where it's all peer to peer. We bring in some of our most successful hosts, people that are looking to start doing seminars, and we invite those with the most experience and people that have been having the most success to come up and share some of the tips and the strategies and the tricks they use when giving a presentation to make sure that it comes off as being successful. This is a day-and-a-half long event. We do it down in Naples, Florida. We've done them here in our home office in Birmingham, Michigan. The last one in Naples, we had about 150 advisors attend, and it's a fantastic event. And if you miss it, we record them and we break down the roughly 16 hours of footage or whatever the amount of time was. We break it down into nice little 20-minute, 30-minute videos of some of the most interesting presentations that some of our peers have given, and sharing some of their success stories. That's a huge event, and it's always best to attend that event live. We don't make any money from that event. It costs us money. There is a tuition for that. It's anywhere from $750 to $950, depending on when you sign up. But it is fantastic. We bring in guest speakers, as like Frank Maselli, like Jeremiah Demaray, other industry leaders. But the best part of it is the peer-to-peer stuff. When people who are actually out there giving our seminar come up there and give a presentation and do Q&As with the audience, and people really get to interact and share ideas. It's a fascinating and exciting and tons of information and lots of learning that happens at Host University.
Wonderful. When somebody signs up with you, you guys have all of these great systems. All great organizations that are scalable have great systems. Would you mind taking, I don't know, just kind of maybe like 8 to 10 minutes? I know that sounds like a long time, but would you mind telling our listeners from, I'm going to do an educational seminar on this date, the steps that need to, and now I understand, I don't want to steal any of your secret sauce here, man, but could you give us the systems in place that you say, okay, so 45 days before the event, we drop this. 2 weeks before we drop this, one day before. Would you mind walking everybody through that? I'm just going to kind of sit here and take notes, and if I have any questions, I'll chime in. But I'd like to hear how you position the execution from an administrative standpoint, the workshops.
Sure, I'd be happy to, Matt. The first thing that happens is you're assigned to one of our skilled account executives. That's also going to act very much as your coach, not only leading up to the seminar and helping you execute everything you need to do prior to the seminar, but also helping you what you need to do on the day of your seminar, and not necessarily more importantly, but very importantly, what you're going to do after the seminar and all the follow up that's required. One of the best things of working with White Glove, obviously, is we do all the work, and I'll explain what that means in just a minute. In addition to taking all of the risk, so you're assigned an account executive. That account executive is going to have you sign what we call our host agreement, and there's some legal obligations and contractual obligations in there, but it's a non-committal agreement. Remember, with White Glove, you don't owe White Glove any money until the day after the seminar, and you only pay us based on the number of households that actually show up. So you're going to pick out the topic. Presumably, you've already picked out the topic. The account executive can help guide you as to what topic would be most appropriate for both you personally and in your practice, as well as geographically. And once you choose the topic, we have several vendors, if you will, that provide content. We are not a content company. We don't procure any of our own content here at White Glove. We use content from Broadridge, Horse's Mouth. Individual advisors sometimes present us with their own content, and we're happy to use their content if it matches our marketing and fulfills the marketing promise that we display in our ads. They're welcome to use their own material. So that's kind of step one, and then we start talking about a venue and where is the best place to host this event. And the first question we're going to ask that advisor is where do some of your best clients come from? And then we're going to zero in on that area, and we're going to draw a little circle around suitable venues that are within that zone for you. And we're going to build the ad, and we're going to deploy the ad, and we're going to start taking registrations. And about a day or two before the actual class, we're going to give you the roster, and you're going to use that roster on the night of your event to check in your attendees that are showing up that evening. And just so you know, if you order 20 households from us, we're going to take about 40 to 45 registrations, because the attendance rate is about 45 to 50%. And you get the no-shows for free. So our most popular class, Taxes and Retirement, is $285 per household that attends. But the real price per lead is $142.50, because you get every no-show for free. And we have tips and strategies on how to follow up with the no-shows and gain appointments from those no-shows, even though they didn't attend your class. All this throughout this 45-day period prior to your class, The account executive is going to be touching base with you and making sure that you've prepared properly for your event. And, we've done thousands of classes in the 4.5 years since we've been in business. I personally myself have done over 1,000 public workshops in my career. Dean Thurman, our other co-founder, has done over 1,000 public workshops in his career. So we know a lot of what works and a lot of what doesn't work. And we've learned from other hosts around the country on different ideas of how things can work better when you're having your event. So we share as much of that information as we possibly can with the advisor, and do our best to make sure they're prepared for their event coming up. So out of approximately a week before your event, that's when we suggest no later. I would actually go a little bit sooner. I would go maybe a couple weeks before if we've already procured a venue for you. I would go. You need to go and visit that venue well ahead of time. Make sure, just double check and make sure that it's a suitable venue for your needs. Be careful. Pay attention. Pay close attention as to where the parking is going to be in relation to the room, and how many zigzags and turns an attendee is going to have to take once they come into the venue. And, I'm always thinking, oh, I might have to have a staff member here or a staff member there to guide people into the room. A lot of times public libraries don't allow you to put up signage. And so you have to put a human being when your attendees got to take a right turn or a left turn or whatever the case may be. So that's really important to make sure the venue is suitable. And so now it's the day of your event. It's at 6:00 tonight. You're expecting 20 households, which means we're going to have about, like I said, 40 households on the roster list. And we recommend that you have an assistant or somebody that works in your office do check-in. If you got to do your own check-in, if you're a one man or one woman shop, that's fine. But it's always best to have somebody that can, check in those folks for you so that you're free to have conversations and welcome people as they come in. And it's also good for the late arrivals. Every class has late arrivals, and you want to have somebody at that registration desk after the event starts. And it's important to start your event on time, for just being respectful of the people that did show up on time. And those late arrivals, I always had a lot of success personally with the late arrivals, because as soon as they come into the room, you say, welcome here, grab this seat over here, there's plenty of room down here. And there's a couple things you missed that are really important, and why don't you come talk to me after the class, because I want to make sure you get a full grasp for the information that we're discussing tonight. Just to try to make that little connection, invite them to come up and talk to you right after the workshop. And I always do that at every single workshop. I tell them I'll answer as many questions as time allows during the event. And if we don't get a chance to get to all your questions, I'll stay behind after the class, and you're welcome to come up and ask me as many questions as you like. I oftentimes would stay at least about a half hour after each class, just simply answering questions and meeting people and learning about their individual situations, and in some cases, setting appointments. Then comes the follow-up. So part of every workshop, like I said, has to have a power opening. It has to have a power close. And you're asking for appointments the night of. And I generally, just personally, would get about a handful of appointments the night of. And then, but overall par for our office is about 65% of the attendees, sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less, but about 65% of the attendees will request an appointment. And follow-up is extremely important, and it has to start immediately the next day, the next morning. It's best to try to procure that appointment the night of, but calling them the next day is extremely important. And also working with White Glove, we have a backup system for you. So after about 2 weeks, our post engagement nurturing system automatically starts happening. And that's been a very successful system at helping advisors generate appointments that they probably otherwise wouldn't generate themselves because it's 2 weeks after the class. We start an email campaign and a Facebook ad campaign that keeps you front and center with those attendees and no shows to help you gain even more appointments uh, than maybe you otherwise would have doing it just all on your own.
And I want to pause you there because here's the kicker, everybody. This is where most advisors fall down, right? They get stubborn or they get personally offended that people didn't show up or they didn't set appointments and don't realize that it's really not about them. I mean, there are going to be people who don't connect with you, but it's really not about them. It could be that these people, the guests, the attendees, the people who didn't set appointments might have other stuff going on, and by continuing to nurture the relationship, I mean, that's already a sunk cost, right? I mean, that's already part of the whole game. So therefore, you're going to be able to get a larger, in my opinion, bang for your buck in working with an organization that provides that backup nurture sequence. Because just like you said, Mike, you're going to be more successful, right? You're going to have a lot more opportunity because you've already been in front of them. You've already built that much of a relationship. So why not continue?
Yeah, we have a saying around the office: nobody ever tells us no. They're just not interested now. So it's all timing, and when they're ready, they'll reach out to you. If you've done a good job of connecting with the folks at the seminar, you're going to have a good chance of getting some good ROI from that workshop and picking up some clients. And it all just like you said, you just got to nurture these folks, and when they're ready, they're ready.
All right, Mike, why don't you tell everybody the best way for them to reach out to you and find out more about what you do at White Glove?
So they can visit us at www.whiteglove.com, uh, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, hashtag White Glove, and that's probably the best way to reach us.
Wonderful. We'll make sure that we have all of those in the show notes. Any parting pieces of wisdom to our audience who are thinking about educational seminars, who might have done them in the past and who are thinking about doing them again?
Well, if you're going to do it again, it sounds self-serving, but do it with White Glove because, again, with White Glove, you only pay based on the number of households that actually show up. And there's only one thing worse than having nobody show up at your workshop, and that's having one person show up at your workshop. And one of the things we're really good at is filling up rooms. We have a high fulfillment rate, and so hopefully that never happens with you with White Glove. But if it does, you're going to be out very little money. You know, back in the day when I used snail mail, there was nothing worse, and it did happen to me. There's nothing worse than spending $5,000 or $10,000 and having one person show up at your workshop. That's a bad experience. It left a bad taste in my mouth. So if you don't like that, give White Glove a call, and we'll see if we can help you out.
Mike Thurman, co-founder of White Glove, thank you very much for your thought leadership.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me on again.
In closing, kind of closing thoughts from all of us here at Top Advisor Marketing, you know, workshops work. People like to come to these. People like the education. And just like Mike said, they're going to get to know you. Zero risk, great opportunity, proven results. These are the sorts of things that I want all of you to consider. If you're looking to truly grow your business, um, and the best part about it is that it doesn't really matter the vertical that you're in, because there are systems out there to attract any of those ideal clients that you have. So please go ahead and take a look at everything that White Glove has to offer. Mike just gave you guys an enormous amount of free information, which is awesome. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to have him back, is because they're so giving with their systems and their formats, and just to show you the level of investment that they have. So if you have not subscribed to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe now button below. And if you know any other advisors who really do want to do workshops, please share this podcast with them. It's super easy. All you have to do is click the share button below and type in their email address or their social media handle. If you have any topic ideas for the Top Advisor Marketing Podcast, email me at matt@topadvisorm, and the M is for marketing.com. Or you can just go ahead and connect with me on social media, especially LinkedIn. I'm very, very active there. And also, if you have any guest ideas, we'd love to hear those too. So for everybody at White Glove, this is Matt Halloran, and for everybody at Top Advisor Marketing, we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.
Are you ready to change the way you communicate with your clients? Are you tired of being the best kept secret in your area? Learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your business. Contact us today and see what the power of podcasting can do for your business. Click on the Contact Us link on our website at topadvisormarketing.com and set up a call to learn more. Follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook for more updates and information.
This was brought to you by Iris.xyz, a platform helping financial professionals become better in business and life through new media and new voices. Visit them and learn more at iris.xyz.